Welcome to a Telltale Books video. This video is continuing my series of deep dive into the complete career of J.G. Ballard, one of the greatest of the new wave British science fiction authors. Got his start back in the 1950s, and I've been going through everything I can get my hands on by J.G. Ballard in order of publication, and I am up to his 13th published story, which is titled The Last World of Mr. Goddard. This story was published in Science Fantasy magazine in October of 1960. Fairly early work of Ballard's, although we've already seen some of his greatest short stories being published before this one. This one's a little lesser known, but we still are moving towards Ballard's mature style here. When we hit 1960, we started to see a change from stories that seemed fairly traditional for science fiction into stories that were still science fiction and fantasy, but definitely not what we've ever seen before. He was doing something that at the time was completely new. Nobody else in the genre magazines was writing stories like these. And The Last World of Mr. Goddard is no exception. The basic synopsis is Mr. Goddard. He's kind of a conventional character, a manager at, I think, a department store. And when he goes home at night at the end of his shift during the day, he has a very, very spare apartment. Hardly any furnishings, hardly anything in it, no decorations. But in one particular room, he has a safe. And when he opens up the safe, he pulls out a box, kind of like a fireproof document box, metal document box. And he unlocks that and opens it up. And inside this box is a miniature model of the town that he lives in, the whole town. Now, this isn't just some cool little craft project he did. When he looks in, he can see the people moving about their business. He can see what's going on in the city. He can see the people in their houses, and he spies on them. The things that he sees happening in the box are happening in the real world. You can see this is an interesting mathematical thing, that this world inside the box is Mr. Goddard's world that he lives in. It's the same thing. So he's able from within that world to go outside and look down on everything inside this box. Kind of an interesting topological twist on reality. The people in this town pick up on the fact that Mr. Goddard knows more about them than he should. They know he's spying on them. They know he's seeing everything they're doing, and they don't like it. The story pulls up a lot of things from outside of science fiction, ideas about phenomenology. We only know the world around us because we perceive it. We see things with our eyes, we hear things with our ears, but what if our senses are lying to us? Is it real? That's the basic idea of phenomenology. And so here, it is real, but it's only real as long as it's going on inside Mr. Goddard's box. And even Mr. Goddard is a part of that reality. It's kind of a mind-blowing story. It's kind of a simple story, almost like a Twilight Zone story, which is, not atypical for 1950s, 1960s, around the time that Twilight Zone got going on television. Lots and lots and lots of stories were being written that became Twilight Zone episodes. It was a style of story that was very popular through the 1950s in fantasy and horror and science fiction. That short story with the twist ending. So this story does give you a lot of food for thought, even though it's a simple little story. It's a very good story. I wouldn't place it among Ballard's very best stories. Say that again. I wouldn't call this one of Ballard's very, very best stories. It's up there, but I don't think it quite makes it to a top tail. Falls just a little short, but it's very good. I highly recommend it if you like really weird, surreal type stories. And of course, if you love Ballard's work, this is a must read. It's among his better work. Not much more I can say about it than that. If you've read, if you have any comments to make about The Last World of Mr. Goddard, please leave them. I really, truly, honestly love to hear it. Your thoughts about these stories. And like the video, subscribe to our channel. Come on back for more. The next Ballard, number 14, will be The Voices of Time, which is one of his most famous stories and one of my favorites. And I will be here. I hope you will be too.